I'm John Dutton, and it is Friday night, the 12th of March. The Ides of March will soon be on us, but we are going to push forth and have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'm joined with many of my closest friends, and so we will definitely have a good time tonight. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to send it over to Robbie Krieger. Robbie hasn't been here for a while, so Robbie, go ahead, take it away.
I'm just going to do two short poems tonight, no trail stuff. Just want to ease back in, let you guys know I'm okay. Rise, Jack Patch, Robbie, A Scattered Light, too many names. But this is a poem I wrote in the beginning of the Wildflower collection called March Melt. Safe on spring shores, outstretched arms shout, yes, we have won the winter war. Only a few more 40 degrees before the mercury blooms with bumblebees. Hallelujah, I am freed by hope, for a long light ensures I am not at the end of my rope. Lime green leaf will soon peep from her dusty theater seat, while buckets of bird song just itch to be released. Thank you all so much. That's the first one before I started writing epic poems. Just a short piece to usher us into spring. And this last one is about this crazy homesteader, off the gritter mountain man who I sometimes romanticize myself to be, but this guy's like totally primitive and you know, he doesn't have money and he just lives in his cabin up on the mountaintop, and not exactly me, but it was a nice poem I wrote a while back. Mountain Man. Cleansed by the cold, clear air, I hurry out of my hut to be baptized by the birds, knowing that nature cannot be described in words. I cashed out all of my change to be purified by the peak and live a life untamed. Why maul myself into making money when the mountain is my master? I hunt with happiness, and finance just forces me to go faster. I fish and I fillet, gathering the greens of a fruitful and productive day. On occasion, I trade in town. My friend in the fields knows I need much more than a meal. Muscling out of the maze, before me is black bear, rock, and root of wild ways.
Good evening, I'm Robert. I'm a writer from Delaware. I'm going to start with the one we talked about before, which was in the style of Dr. Seuss. It's called Manku Senru. I am a he-man when I watch ball sports all day. Man, I am today. I am a he-man when I drink beer cans all day. Man, I am today. I am a he-man when I fart brown beans all day. Man, I am today. I am a he-man when I lube my car all day. Man, I am today. I am a he-man when I feel nothing all day. Who am I today? That's the first one. And the second one is a tribute to drive-in movies. It's called Drive-In Movie Truths Revealed. 50-foot woman delivery at the drive-in movie concession stand. The concession stand ketchup is blood. The blob was made with 257 packages of grape jello. Godzilla is the third cousin, once removed through marriage of King Kong. The pods from outer space are from Saturn. The drive-in movie speaker broadcasts human surveillance to Mercury aliens. That's it.
Oh, wow. All right. I think I'm ready. So I had a fellow artist issue me a unique challenge that to practice the art of writing, to take a random subject that one wasn't necessarily passionate about and write about. So I went to a random generator for subjects, and I cheated a little. I had it generate 2 subjects, and I picked one. And the one subject that came up was weaving. So I call this piece Weaving Season, and it's a little rough. From the hoof beats of hoofed sheep and the soft bleats that slip from their throats as they say adieu to winter coats, winter's last notes as sheared wool floats, becoming a freed fleece, ready to be washed of grease. It's scoured and carded, with 2 matted wool discarded, roving and spinning from field to barn on its journey to becoming yarn. The wool has yet to be worn or woven, yet there are many steps to being chosen. The farmer in his wisdom knows the work it takes to turn wool to clothes. As a year has many seasons, God has his reasons for making us work for our raiment. When birds wear coats heaven sent, there must be wisdom in backs bent and sweat spent in covering ourselves in comfort. So we weave at the loom, covering our impending doom, shuttling back and forth from the day of our birth. We tried to pull glory from the earth, turning a warped life full of joy and strife into a tapestry, though we are never fully free, because to live is to dance on the edge of a bladed knife, to hope for day and pray through night. Armed with needle and thread, we mend away the dread. The hours and days trickle by as we try not to sigh, but greet each sunrise with a battle cry as winter's cold is defied. As the next spring comes with fresh air in our lungs and unfrozen tongues, we are coated in victory wool, having achieved our goal. In the steps from fleece to coat, it is not the distance, but the growth we note. Without the sweat, there could be no pride, so we walk in our stride, knowing another wasteland was survived, still on a journey not yet arrived. We weave on our legacy, part of our living tapestry, because while we're still breathing, it's weaving season.
I have 3 pieces tonight. 2 of them are rather short. I'll just jump right into it. The first piece is called The Tear Collectors. If you stare in venomous glares, clench your teeth to spout hatred through jaws set in stone, and hid under white sheets for newly found courage. If you released your unholy energies upon those who had no refuge, released your unholy marriage of arrogance and unruly law upon the innocent and the virtuous, then yes, you have wreaked fear without remorse, as if there is no divinity in the universe. Remember, we are the children born from ebony and indigo, the reflection of our ancestors' cries. They exist in the midnight of our skins, in the rhythm of our veins. We are the collectors of their tears, their dust released into atmospheres. Now no longer are they formless. From their pain we reborn the art of verse. They are in the skyline of our eyes, dark planets against the moon's eclipse, where all nations and people were born to reside in solidarity. Nay, we shall never taste defeat. You cannot conquer peace. We are the collectors of their tears, and even in your deformity, Your foul deeds, we survived, we created beauty, a strength unyielding, our greatest inheritance. From an ancient people facing life at its worst and horrid death, still do not weep for themselves, but for you, for there is a divinity in the universe. In peace. The second one is called Lore. There is a woman in a rustic log cabin wearing a faded frock. Her aura is ablaze with goodness, so much more than the fireplace she sits beside in tranquility, physically in slavery. But her mind is in a poetic lore, existing in a timeline parallel to mine, so tonight we will dine celestially in peace. And the last piece is Erin Weeps. Erin Weeps, excuse me, Erin weeps in latency, with an abhorrence toward the businessmen who stroll past her nostrils high, practicing a daily routine. Erin weeps for warm seasons past in acute pain. The silk of her hair has now withered to hay. She slowly strokes her hips and her body for rejuvenation. She prays for rebirth, but the reality of street life remains in a bed of cardboard dreams. Erin weeps for satisfaction, so she welcomes the smell of musk when she chooses to indulge in man. Erin weeps in solitude in a stillness, alone, like a great black sculpture. In peace. Thank you.
I just did something really short and fast. I'm just thinking of the mask that everyone has to wear every day. So I wrote something really short, and it's reads like, bring back the smiles on our faces. What is on the other side of that mask? May I even ask? That mask we wear everywhere. That mask that is worn on different faces. The smile that leads to happiness and pride. If I could only see through the masks that are worn on the different faces, how would it be to no longer be asked to wear a mask? Bring back the smiles on our faces, just to see the happy smiles when we travel in different places. Let us bring back the cheerful smiles, a smile that gives us a positive, beautiful image, a smile that can lead to happiness and success. Let us turn our frowns upside down. We are caught in a time that has unexpectedly turned our world around. Bring back the smiles on our faces and put on a smile so that a friend can stay around for a while. You know that a smile or laugh can be contagious. This will happen surely in a little while. So let the cheerful and let's be cheerful and give this world a smile. That's it.
This first piece, I like to do this at different places because I think this piece is indicative of what we as poets do. So if you've heard this before, hopefully you'll enjoy it again. But this piece is called "We Scribble Light." This is what poets do. We are here to make sense out of what don't make dollars. Our unique lens shakes scholars and seeks God like real priests with fake collars. We're soaked in hope and doubt till we holler divine whispers in hell's open mouth. We throw quotes about. We write about what you gripe about. Despite heavenly insight, we grope about the outskirts of paradise. The paradox is we are paralyzed, but our pair of eyes are as sharp as paring knives and fine lines for pairing lives, repairing lives, and sharing whys to those whose prayer in life is that their chest is see-through. We see you. We're preaching oracles to leaking oracles where art spoken to hearts broken. We impart tokens to enlighten dark folks and smart and bright folks. We spark blokes with the fire shut up in our bones. We shut up when we're alone, but our lead speaks volumes. We write to atone. We hear the world through our lead phones. We're lone lyrics and notes thrown from God's throne to let us know we're his own, so we're right to atone. We don't write to be known. It's our flight that we've flown. When we write, we fight to the bone to give you light we've been shown. And when light has been shown, we'll write and break a point to make a point. We anoint our lead and toil through wars and piece together chords that ward off peace. We're wards of peace whose peace can make war from peace without you having to pour through war and peace. Tore heaven and hell and tore peace so we can store a peace. So when we pour from our core, we are informants of important, imported pieces. We force life's assorted feces and distorted pieces through our pen, and for sport, we spurt a beautifully discordant thesis. Our trick is we treat this like we need this. We eat this. Whether you need or delete this, we're freed when we read this. We're hemophiliac leeches. We feed when we bleed this. Our creed is we write this. Insight drips from our right wrist. We light wicks when we write scripts and fight bics like we like this. We write despite the fact that we might miss, but we write gifts that are flight risks. Our pen tips are where light drips. We speak for the tight-lipped. We are passion's sidekicks. We pass inside tips when life's passive side kicks. We look forward to love like compassion psychics. To us, God rations seismic portions of his grace by allowing our eyes to trace the divine contortions of his face with a rhyming consortium of his faith. We're born to hate and love this fate. We create lines that recreate times, that rewind our minds through time and space. We chase waterfalls. Share our gifts, and on your face, water falls down your cheeks to rain. Water crawls, tears, hydroplane to hide your pain. And whether you're special or try to hide your plane, we write for you. We pen ambient light to give ambient nights for you. We fight for you to quiet your morbid screams. Pen life for you that gives birth to aborted dreams. We stream thoughts through our verse. Our pen slakes our thirst until those men make our hearse. We won't shake this curse. What's worse is we make words work because we know words worth much more than a penny for our thoughts. It's like we bought a nickel bag of thoughts and peace. We piece rhyme thesis and the dime pieces. We lease time creatures to increase our mind creases, and until our mind ceases, we'll bind lines to our mind's eyes because our lines teach when our lives preach. And we form speech that hurts like we're born breech, but don't mourn. Each of us is a minstrel. We bleed on our pad from secret places to all those hearing it. We flow ink till we cramp, vomit words because we're sick, and spill our guts through our prose, period. That's my first piece. And let's see. I told you I don't write short stuff. My second piece, I'll probably stop at my second piece because this is a long piece, but I really like it. It's called Curses. Sometimes I wonder who I'm writing for. Is it for my left chest muscle that's always slightly more than slightly sore? I mean, it's the bleep and wonder, it's still beating thunder and lightning, scores of unsightly sores from my nightly wars. I feel like Nightwing fighting Thor, and I often marvel that more DC writers like me, more likely there's no more writers like me Mia Moore might be enlightening the mic and lighting lightning when lightning strikes. But what's frightening is after the excitement spikes, it crashes. After I've left the mic in ashes and feeling like I just want to fight with cashes. You just don't know how effective an ink and lead mask is. I mean, imagine you're in the masses conducting the marriage of this madness with your magic. You pray like a mantis as you lay on your mattress that your words burn like matches. Write matchsticks that match wits and match with your match miss. I mean, mismatched thoughts we dispatch while we wish that folks don't diss that make us want to get back, hit back, skip back to our old chapter, flip back like a backflip to a time where we crafted drafts in our draft class. Now, though we want our last drafts to burn like backdrafts, we hope that you can get past that. Sometimes it's a rope to get the pass back to the only way we could cope was to puff past that. But now that we're dope, we still hit the rough patch that makes the ground slope. So we hit the putt past that. But if you have enough balls, according to the tropes of movie scripts, we'll make the rough paths flat, but I don't play games. I've been stuck in enough sand traps that I know I get teed off when life isn't played the fair way. And whether I have a bad hair day or feel scared descending hell's stairway, God promises he's just a prayer away. And while most have one prayer away, I use two. So if you're not used to wordplay or hearing words pray, after the word spray, you may not even know what the words say. And believe me, I want you to hear me in the worst way. That's usually how they come near me on the worst day, in the worst way. A light head with a heavy heart turn white bread into heavy art that starts to exercise the sins and urge to binge and purge. I singe and merge bins of words that hinge on facts. In fact, they can make you cringe or clap as they help this slim dude trim the fat. I skim the vat so you can drink it whole. Some think my pen is inking gold and sprinkles. Sometimes I think I'm standing and staring at the brink of a sinkhole. Without blinking, it preys on my gaze, tries to sink hold. I'm seeing a shrink so I can deal with 10 times Cinco, close to 50, no wrinkles, no ring though, I'm single. March to my own drum beat, I'm Ringo. I speak guitar lingo, my fingers sing on the strings in order to recreate spring, but there is one thing though, sometimes I feel cursed. Now I bet your reaction will be laughter at first. I mean, I haven't been snatched or was captured at birth. I'm a crafter of verse and find worth by searching chapter and verse. I've been betrayed and abandoned by my pastor, my church father. Now he calls me a bastard and worse. I feel like I've been bit by a raptor. It hurts. Sometimes I would pray for the rapture or hearse. Often feel like a disaster from birth. Couldn't master my worst. And I know the word says the master's at work, but sometimes it feels like the master has cursed me. I feel like the fig tree. Jesus came to me hungry and thirsty and went away from me angry and cursed me. Life hurts and it hurts me. And while that's the first thing on my mind, he works to search me so I'll find I'm not the worst thing, but worth things that can't be earned by working or concerned with purse strings. I was purchased from my perch for a purpose, to learn things, to learn him. When I discern him, I adjourn sin and affirm him. Spurned sin and turned into a Christian. Now, I'm not a Christian because I push the Christian cause or recite the Christian laws. If you thought you knew what a Christian was, I'll tell you what a Christian be. With all my flaws, he gives forgiveness and lives in me. He's insisting he fits in me, fits in us. Lock and load. No mixing or missing his mission or business. Let's rock and roll. No Sisyphus. He's insistent on assisting us with this system that says sin isn't in us. Sin isn't us, but sin isn't us. And sin isn't just baggage. It's a carry on. We're carrying till we're rotten and rotting like carrion. It's like marrying an infectious disease carrier, but don't let this barrier scare you. Stare through sin's bogus hocus pocus and focus on the one who woke us after he woke up. Live to soak up the words he spoke of. Strive to live life the way he spoke of. It'll get hard. Don't get choked up. Grab your bat and choke up. Invoke the quotes he wrote up. He's the GOAT like 2-3 who seized me, and gives me rest like he's Sealy. See, he knows that the path from sold out to sold out can have a rocky start, but keep fighting and you'll get Rocky's heart. And life is sly. Its rocky parts can make you and I scream like we ride a rocky road, but don't cry. Christ died and rose after he unrolled the rock so he can unlock the load that locked up your soul. Hopefully we can mature like the spiritual stock that we hold. But if your spiritual spark's a tad cold, stop and grab hold of Jesus, because he just wants to give us the keys that frees us in this word that's like unfailing granite. He's the only cure for this ailing planet. He can save it better than that alien from the Daily Planet. He's been running things since the day he planned it. And he planned you as his plan A. And no matter what your plans be, make sure your plans see that all his plans are to make you God's light, not make you godlike. I bet God's like, I made them just like me, but I won't make them just like me. but I want them to have my psyche. So I'll give them my life, I'll give them my love, and I'll give them my writing. So if you're like me, you spend your life writing reams and fighting demons that delight in scheming. I better pray as they pray on me. Gotta stay on my J-O-B, obey like I'm J-O-B, run this race like a J-O-G. And even when life KOs me, I can still look at G-O-D and J-O-T. I only wanna be with you, like Hootie and the Blowfish. Can't protest, I have to find beauty in the process. Like when you see a cutie in a prom dress, I have a duty then to progress as I cling to his promise that he'll never be apart from me since he died for me. Now he'll always be a part of me, and he fights for me while giving me something to fight for. So who do I write for? For whom do I take out my mighty sword and write war? Write more to my writing source is writing sore, and my writing soars despite my handwriting sores. I'm writing scores of phrases that score the pages, not for my prosperity, but for my posterity. I write every clause because I want this cause to cause clarity for my future seed and future me. I suture ink to lines to show God is at work, suturing inside to reveal you. When life conceals you, God rod and reels you. The sun, he'll heal you, and the spirit seals you to show you the real you. I want you to know I feel you. Sometimes you may not feel you. You may not feel you are being heard, or worse. I know it hurts, but before you curse, first immerse your hurts into his verse. Search his word and you will learn that what you think is a curse or him breaking you is really him shaping you. If you feel your world shaking, it's not an earthquake, he's chasing you. And if you feel lightning struck, he's not tasing you, he's facing you. He put his face in you. And while he doesn't put his faith in you, he saved you. He put his faith in you. His faith in you. All of life is a choice: sin, faith, and you. Block out the noise and hear his voice. When sin is facing you, remember to keep sin's fate in view. Don't let sin bait you. Sin hates you, but God lives to aid you. We can rest in his intercession. Remember, life gives you the test and then gives you the lesson. And I hope that you can see that class is always in session. And if not, I'll be your glasses. I know what my task is. I'm not writing classics, I'm writing classes. And I'll pass them, I pray, every passing day till I'm passing away and writing my casket. Thank you very much for indulging me. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to read basically was written while I was still commuting into the city, but it's almost like there's a little foreshadowing. So I think it's a good one to read because tomorrow would be a year from when I started to telecommute. So this one is called Routine Unraveled. The route of the ordinary, bound by no rules, but going from point A to point B in an Escher etching, all black and white abstractions, cars and life driving sideways at idle speed. The only color, a lime green Mini Cooper blasting the traffic mood. I panic just a little, a break in the routine, heading for words, throwing the broken GPS out the sunset window for now. The words of each day are a jungle gem of unrelated emails, recalls, plans, agendas, to-do lists, and at the bottom, like a cat playing a ball of yarn to unravel, to reweave my humdrum into a fabric of inked verse each day. The warp of work is 4-minute each day on the bench. I take the day-to-day, comb and draft threads of thought. The fiber of today's pencil rovings become the schemed notebook of tomorrow's. The book. Each day, when the light still hits the room in rising shadows, I sit, reach for the old book of platitudes, looking for a reason beyond morbid duty to sit and read to you again. There's nothing new discovered when reading worn lines. I remember when you wanted humor, laughter, enjoyment of words. I dread the time when I will want this book in lieu of myself. And then the final one is Offshore Bellows. In the morning, pen travel. Today I listened to offshore music. The music is a wave at Bellows when I was 11. Body surfing, tan skin, no concerns except the next wave. I feel the waves pulse here at my Virginia writing location. Words ebb, flow, come or not, and I feel the sun, sand, and for a moment, I see my sister, tall, watching here, if only for as long as this poem remains unfinished. Thank you.
March 12th, 2021. Needing a newspaper photo from June 1988, I called the Bull Run Library this morning to see if it might be archived on their microfiche. The recording said all Prince William County libraries are closed due to COVID. This was an astonishment, for I have just finished a little-known corner of history where a passion for literature inspired extraordinary acts of courage and love. I don't think it's spilled ink we have ever had a book review, but I must express the following thoughts. The Paris Library is the story of the American library in Paris during World War II. The library had served as a bridge of books between cultures for years before 1939, when this story begins. That year, as we all know, the German war machine was changing the face of Europe, and the American Library in Paris was already involved in shipping 20,000 tomes to French, British, and Czechoslovakian troops, as well as the Foreign Legion. Summer 1940. The directress of this museum, an American, was asked what she thought would happen as the Nazis were headed for Paris. Her words were, "We can't see what's coming. All we can do is hold the line." And holding the line included amazing, courageous acts, including hiding massive amounts of ancient manuscripts, first editions, filed research papers, antique books, and so forth, as France was slashed in two with the North under German control. Each of the librarians and staff, Canadians, British, French, and Americans, played an important part in saving the literary treasures stored and shared there. They were the resistance with books, and using incredible dedication, they kept the library open during the entire war. Here's one of the many astounding facts. Gas, or as they called petrol, was scarce to eventually not any. So these librarians amassed as much as possible in order to move to hide valuable manuscripts and books, filling donated teapots. They also used this saved commodity to sneak books to the internment camps in the French countryside. The German officers were vicious from the start, except for a so-called head inspector who had once been a fellow librarian to the directress of our American library in Paris. They had met at a conference over the years, and his military assignment was to collapse her library. He fortunately took pity as much as possible and saved some of the librarians' lives. But in the meantime, the underling officers would not allow the library to send books to Allied soldiers imprisoned in Germany, described as heartbreaking. These same officers were the ones who eventually raided the library of anything precious that was left, and then spied on those using the library to flush out the Jewish patrons who were then sent to extermination camps. One librarian claiming, "A library without members is a cemetery of books." And later, books are like people. Without contact, they cease to exist. I want to finish this book review with a few personal comments. I sometimes ask myself when reading of bravery during horrible times what I would have done then, and then go to what I now should do to help, in this case, with our libraries. John Dutton organized a great poet to student poetry lessons in our system 2 years ago. It was semi-successful, and hopefully it can start up again with us inkers volunteering to help and make it wonderful. The author of the book, The American Library in Paris, Janet Charles, spent years and years doing research for this gorgeously told story, saying she was inspired by a book plate from the Paris Library, which said, Atrum post bellum ex libris lux, translated, after the darkness of war, the light of books. She gave thanks to the American Library Association, who had kept archives, including the director's top secret report. To finish, let me once again tell you, my wonderful poet friends, to keep sharing your love of literature. The words we use in our poems and other writings are shaping perception, as do the books we read, the stories we tell one another, the stories we tell ourselves. I know for sure that we're changing the way our Prince William citizens are thinking about the literary arts, about our works, and they're happy to tell me we are today's literary heroes. Love you. Let's help get our libraries open.
This is an excerpt from a larger piece. These are two young people. Melvina's about 7 or 8, maybe 9 years old. And the boy that she's holding down is just a little younger than her. Oh, actually, he's a little older than her. Here goes. Melvina adjusted her knee, pushing her right hand down more securely and tightening her hold with her left. She drew in her breath. She drew in air sharply, taking a moment to catch her breath. From time to time, Leroy caused her to get winded, and today he had struggled mightily. Hey, Leroy, Melvina intoned casually. The object of her greeting lay prone beneath her, his face bloodied and squished into the concrete. He struggled briefly, testing the strength of her hold, determining it to be unbreakable. He responds just as casually. Hey, Melvina. Melvina, Leroy wheezes, I can't breathe. Melvina lifts her knees slightly off of Leroy's back as she jerks his clasped hands tangled in the fabric of his jacket more firmly into the center of his back, while increasing the pressure on his head with her right hand. I heard you flunk second grade again. What's that now, the third time? Having adjusted her hand on Leroy's head, his mouth was now partially immobilized by the hard, unyielding surface of the sidewalk, which made his words come out garbled. Yeah, this is the third time, but let me move on to third grade this time. Melvina takes a few moments to evaluate this new intel. Ah, he says. So what you want, Melvina, Leroy demands. Melvina, sensing a bit of attitude, increases the pressure of her knee and slaps Leroy's head into the concrete gently. Oh, never you mind what I want, Leroy. Leroy grunts around the pain. Melvina learned a long time ago that Leroy learns better when pain was involved. At one time, she was much smaller than Leroy, with no brothers or males in her family willing to protect her. She must have glowed like a neon target to him. Melvina didn't remember the time or which incident led to her exacting revenge, but it had been something. He tripped her, he slapped her in the back of her head, he pulled her hair, he made her dolls talk mean to her, he called her baby one time too many, and she finally responded. As they both looked down at the smashed bits of the remains of his prized bright red, white-walled silver glider, a Christmas present from his mother 3 years ago, never to be replaced, little Melvina stepped back from the edge of the roof of the abandoned high-rise, pulling Leroy with her. As she looked up into his dazed eyes, before turning and walking away, she said, I will always be smarter than you, always. But he was and is a slow learner, And that wasn't the only pain little Melvina caused him. And then one day she was bigger than Leroy, a lot bigger. That was the day she commenced to whooping his ass. She knew that she only had a short window of domination because she had seen too many boys go from tiny to huge in a short period of time. People were always saying, boy, you just shot up, didn't you? She had to get her licks in when she could. She had him on a schedule, 1 or 2 beatdowns a week, sometimes more if needed. This was beatdown 3 this week. She had something important to discuss. I got a little sister coming in first grade. Before she could get finished, Leroy protested. You ain't got no sister. Excuse me. You ain't got no sister. I said I got a sister. I got a sister. Nah, you don't. I've been knowing you since we both was in first grade. You ain't got no sister. Pain helps Leroy to learn. And Melvina knew just how to teach him. Pulling his hands tangled in his jacket toward her, she bounced on his back once, then twice, using his face as leverage. Leroy screams, okay, okay. Melvina relieves the pressure, and Leroy gulps for air. Once he's quieted down, he says, so your little sister's coming to first grade. Yeah, her name is Mimi, and I don't want anyone messing with her like you used to mess with me. And you're gonna make sure that everyone knows what's coming to him if she doesn't have a great first day. Melvina, I told you I'm in the 3rd grade now, Leroy whines. So what does that mean? Those first graders are going to do whatever they want to do? You ain't going to have no say-so? Melvina had removed her knee from Leroy's back and let up, pressing his head into the concrete. They're going to do what I tell them to do. That's what I thought, Melvina let go of Leroy, allowed her to sit up on the sidewalk. She sat beside him. You going to do it or not? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'll have them back in diapers if they so much... They'll be so scared. Nobody's going to mess with her. And I'll make sure that one of them comes to get you if anything happens, okay? Melvina smiles that smile Leroy lives for, bobs her head quietly, agreeing. Okay, as he helps her up from the sidewalk. Hey, Melvina, Mom made cornbread. You want some? Leroy halfway down the block, headed home, walking backwards as he calls out to Melvina. Yeah, sure sounds like butter to me, Melvina calls back as Leroy allows her ahead of him in their race to his building.
It's an old one. I think I've read it when we were at Girani, but it just feels like kind of reminiscent as we're sort of looking back at the last year or so and looking back at things. It's called Rest Stop. I trip over the weeds growing through the rotting boards of a porch attached to a listing, faded, white clapboard house moored in the dusty blonde field that radiates heat into the deepening twilight. Cicadas and crickets play accompaniment to my squeaking footsteps, and the screen door with its faded ornate wood trim leans drunkenly against the wall, connected by one rusted and bent hinge to the tilting threshold it should have guarded. I step carefully over the doorstep, feeling boards soft with age and rot sink a little under my weight. The dust of many disappointments floats in the air. The small, darkening room is stifling, no breeze coming through the broken open windows to disperse the heat of memories and remnants of sadness. In an attempt to maintain perspective, balance left behind at my car parked down the lane on the other side of a barbed wire gate, I press my hand against a tilted, faded, rose-covered wall and pull my hand away, leaving only the outline like a petroglyph on a cliff face. The house hugs its deep blue memories of furniture, laughter, love, and tears, repelling intruders with the odor of decay and dust. As I step back onto the crooked porch, I can see the road and the ghosts of those young, confident women who climbed the fence to invade the past with their dreams for the future. I watch them laughing, confident of who they are, hopeful and so alive, posing for the photographs that will capture all their promise in that moment, against the backdrop of failure. I watched the tall, thin girl who dared barbed wire and splinters by wearing skirt, heels, and hose. In the brief moment, her dreams are frozen against the frame of an ornamented wood door, of a screen door. But she faces only forward from the dereliction around her, toward a future that fades into the heat-soaked horizon. I come back to myself, and the ghosts scatter into their futures, forgotten by older pasts. Stepping away, the screen door brands my hands with grafts rusty like the dried blood of recollections, as though memories can be organized into neat little boxes, and the listing house will gently sink into the blonde fields, keeping its secrets and dreams intact. So as the stars come out, I walk down the overgrown, rutted track to the gate, climb carefully over the barbed wire as though my old jeans and sneakers were the sheerest hose and finest Italian leather pumps. The car has cooled as the sun set, and the engine settles back into a comfortable rhythm. I pull onto the road for the next 100 miles. And the sign on the gate announces the coming of 24 custom luxury homes.
I have 3. The last 2 are short, but the first one is Edgar Allan Poe meets Dr. Seuss. It's called A Love Above Time. Turning the key in the lock, no one is home. He's been gone a while, in the universe to roam. Waking that morning, I'd reached out my hand. The sheet was empty, where once was my man. Entering our nest, I sense company. No sound do I hear, no coat do I see. I walk to the den and go to our chairs, make myself comfy. Then I get scared. His chipped coffee cup rests next to our lamp, where he'd read his books. The cup now was damp. Steam it did rise like a genie from a bottle. I reached out my hand, then his cup it did wobble. It rose in the air where his lips used to be, when reading a page with glasses to see. No spectacles there, not a hand to touch, just his coffee cup hanging midst the room's eerie hush. Not a limb did I move, not a word did I say. Then his cup settled down on that special day. Soon all became still, things just as I left it. I leaned back in my chair and thought of his casket. Yes, his body was there. I saw it go down, set in the earth with a covered green mound. But this day he's with me, one last special time. Our chairs, our coffee, a love above time. The end. Okay, this is rhyming couplets, and it's called Clouds of Bow, Prayer or Sacrifice. So this is referring to 9000 BCE. Pagans, but present day as well. Giving pastors time they need, slipping egos up fat sleeves. Crooks pay words and buy attention, selling dreams that hide invention. Artful preachers craft their webs, draping bows around dark beds, steering horns and bolting thunder, clouds of bow rip faith asunder. The end. And the last one is called A Dose of Humility, and it's my first attempt at heroic couplets. When trustworthy poets show all things new, unveiling cosmos, our faith rises true. Comedies, tragedies, we mortals miss. exercise gullible, hard egos hiss. When Mephistopheles hollows us out, a dose of humility damns our doubt. The end.
This poem I'm about to read is about a nice, beautiful lady named Zenia. Her name is Zenia, a woman who is so sweet. She is a woman you would want to meet. The shirt and her jeans that she wears are so neat. She wears no shoes on her beautiful bare feet. She likes to take a walk down the street. She goes over to take a seat that she finds next to the street. She feels the extreme heat on her lovely bare feet. As she puts them onto the seat, she begins to eat her snack made from wheat. As she sits on the seat that is next to the street, where she feels the heat on her beautiful bare feet. But here comes her friend Pete. He sits next to her on the seat, and he rubs his hands on her beautiful bare feet. It was here where she first saw Pete. He saw that she was neat, a beautiful woman who had beautiful bare feet. From that day, he knew where to meet a beautiful woman named Zenia, who is so sweet. And that is Zenia, oh so sweet. And now here's the next one, and this is about a queen, and it is called The Great Feast of Bolton. It was a peaceful and tranquil in the kingdom of Bolton. The people were very happy. Everyone got along. There was no better place to be. Then came word of the great beast of Bolton. Queen Aspa was sitting on her throne in the great chamber of the great palace. Your Majesty! Your Majesty! A messenger shouted as he rushed into the room. The great beast is approaching. Summon the guards, she rose from her throne. Get them in position as soon as possible. In a short moment, the great and valiant men of Bolton were gathered at the walls of the kingdom. Armed with swords and fully armored, they were prepared to take on the beast. Then came the great beast of Bolton. The great beast was much higher than the highest mountain. He stomped with every step, shaking everything as he approached the walls of the kingdom. His thick skin was made of thick steel, and it had a sharp steel teeth. And it looked upon the kingdom, and many of the people were sore afraid of the beast as it stood high above them. The great valiant men attacked the beast with all their spears and arrows and catapults and swords, but to no avail. They attacked everything until all of the weapons were used up. The beast just stood there. So came the great feast of Bolton. Queen Anspa watched as the great beast had his great feast, and then she saw that she was the last one in the kingdom. The great beast stared hard into her eyes. Queen Anspa was very beautiful, very lovely, and very delicious. And that's it.
I've got a couple, they're older pieces, and the first one is an abstract called I Saw the Black. And I knew that it, oh, sorry, I have the wrong spot. Here it is. The world spun without axis. I saw an angel ride a minaret. Somehow I crawled in sanctified bliss, but I was venerated by a hobo, by a hobo that my brother met one time when he lived upon a moon. That time when he lived upon a moon. I followed a Yorkie to the cat's-colored pond, where I met an exuberant mythical fawn. Some dictator claimed that the sentence was free, so he gave it to a starving child. In a single eon, my course was clear. I needed to reread every single play ever written by Shakespeare. I saw the black, and I knew that it loved me back. Something wailed from the bathroom stall. Is that all? 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 Help me, help me. I need the invisible, something indivisible by a factor of you. Please see the serendipity I hide from her while I cuddle in the light that the mothership blurs. I have a pocket to put your sins in, but you still get a thrill when the posse wins. Can't you see his ears coping with the floor? Give me a break and break down the door that leads away from heaven's Pepsi spoon. Why did you leave so soon, floating away like a Monday balloon? I saw the black and I knew that it loved me back. Something wailed from the bathroom stall. Is that all? 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 Come to me, kill that flashing train. Kill it, kill it, kill it. I want you from Beijing to St. Paul. Fall, 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 then pop up from the sensuous rain. I want to give you more than the devil's call. I saw the black, and I knew that it loved me back. I heard something wailing from the bathroom stall. Is that all? 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 Yeah, that was I Saw the Black. And this is very late. The reason this background that I made this morning in Photoshop. This is, I've done this last year. I wrote it a year ago last Christmas, but I added a new stanza on Christmas Day this last Christmas, and it's called Space Santa. Santa Claus is coming here from outer space, bringing lots of gifts for the human race. Zooming across the earth in his UFO, singing peace on earth and ho, ho, ho. Space Santa, watch him go, go, go. Space Santa, through the ice and snow. Space Santa, popping Oreo. Space Santa, Space Santa, Space Santa. How do you think he gives his presents so fast? It's a cosmic drive on his souped up sleigh. Before this long and lonely night is past, there'll be a billion toys to give away. Space Santa, watch him go, go, go. Space Santa, through the ice and snow. Space Santa, popping Oreo. Space Santa, Space Santa, Space Santa. You think of him as living in the frigid North Pole, but I'm here to tell you he's from further away. Tomorrow he'll be sitting on a different globe, 97 light years from the Milky Way. Space Santa, watch him go, go, go. Space Santa, through the ice and snow. Space Santa, popping Oreos. Space Santa, Space Santa, Space Santa. Why did he choose to give us such joy? Could it be the tale of a special boy who brought a smile to his rosy lips as he eased the boredom on his other trips? Space Santa, watch him go, go, go. Space Santa, through the ice and snow. Space Santa, popping Oreos. Space Santa, Space Santa, Space Santa. Santa Claus is coming here from outer space, bringing lots of gifts for the human race. Zooming across the earth in his UFO, singing peace on earth and ho, ho, ho. Space Santa, watch him go, go, go. Space Santa, through the ice and snow. Space Santa, Poppin' Oreo, Space Santa, Space Santa, Space Santa. That's it.
I believe everyone has gone, so I will close with a couple pieces that I've written for the prompts that I gave the kids this week in my day book. This one is called Aged Superhero. They had somebody found, one of the other teachers found a picture of the Punisher like at 80. Of course, he was a octogenarian and in an old folks home. And so that was the picture prompt. And I said they could write on any superhero though. So I picked Superman, aged superhero. Greek, pop, crying out loud. Just getting out of bed in the morning is tough on my back and knees. Superman grabs his cape instead of his towel and moves to take a shower. He realizes his mistake afterwards. Oh, crap. This will take forever to dry. Well, I'll have to wear it because my other cape has so many moth holes. Someone is outside screaming for help, except Superman hasn't put in his hearing aids yet. He does his morning stretches and tries to find his dentures. He finally locates them and pops them in his mouth. He then puts on his hearing aids. Superman, help! Superman waddles outside and it takes him 3 attempts to get airborne. He is no longer faster than a speeding bullet, or faster, maybe faster than a Nerf bullet, yes, but not a speeding bullet. His mind is also not quite as sharp, so he gets lost easily. When he does reach the young man needing assistance, he is too late. The young man has been beaten to a pulp and was robbed of all his possessions. Dang it, late again. I think I need to retire. Now I'll take the bus home because my knees are killing me. On his way to the bus, the aged superhero sneezed. Oh, great. Now I am going to need to start wearing Depends. And that is Aged Superhero. This was Phil. We watched a video. It was, if you're interested, it was Phil K. And the title is Repetition. He uses great imagery, lots of similes, and we were teaching irony. And he talks about how when you repeat words often, they just lose their meaning, except then he developed a stutter. So the irony was he couldn't even get them out of his voice. And so they would never leave him. So that was irony. And so I made the kids write a poem using words. The word they had to throw in there was words. And then I asked for repetition of a word or phrase at least 3 times. And this was my example. Words are powerful, powerful enough to sting, powerful enough to comfort, powerful enough to change the world. Words are wonderful, wonderful to read, wonderful to write, wonderful to create. What are some of your favorite words? Mine are nefarious, shenanigans, skedaddle, and doldrums. So if you have any favorite words, please type them in the chat. I would love to hear them. One of my favorite words is also doofus. One of the kids said Nimrod. One of the kids said monstrosities. So if you have some favorite words, people out there, type them in the chat. I would love to see them. And I'll keep a list and I will put them on into the my chronicles of Spilled Ink. This has been an absolutely wonderful night. It was always a pleasure to see all of you. We are Spilled Ink, and I love you all, and I can't wait to see you again in 2 weeks. And be safe out there, and thank you again for stopping. I'm John Dutton, and we are Spilled Ink. So guys, you have a great one. I will see you later.